Good morning, or whatever it is, wherever you are. Man, I'm still tired. I don't know why I should have given myself a bit more time before I started. Well, anyway. How be? Alright, just tired. But, you know, the sacrifices we make. It's funny to say that, because it's like, what, playing video games? Yeah. It's afternoon everywhere, Friggy. That's not true, because it's not here. That doesn't sound right at all. Sounds like you're trying to deceive me. What's in the news? Well, we just woke up, so I guess that's what Twitter's for, right? The news, isn't it? Why is your character drinking in the morning? For all you know, he's just holding it up so he can toss it away. Metal said he was going to stream today? Huh, I'm surprised he didn't actually. So we're meant to have something on right now, but it's not, so that's why I figured I'd play some Halo. EFAP this Saturday? Yeah, of course. Oh, he did stream? Ah, alright. Yeah, no. Yeah, we got EFAP this weekend. I'm not talking about that. Because I am nowhere near well enough informed on that to have a perspective on it. I was more referring to gaming news, which is like one of the few things I've actually feel well versed enough. Oh, they've updated their little thing on Twitter for Halo, the 20th anniversary. I do need to make that retrospective. Oh, I gotta make sure I do it in time. Oh, and they're announcing it like now. This is like today. Huh, wow, talk about timing. I expect a fun-filled Resident Evil 8 breakdown and EFAP, and it's gonna be great. Have you read on Fairy Stories Tolkien essay? I know that I'm aware. I definitely know what it's about. I know that that's the one that talks about the whole idea of suspension of disbelief, internal consistency. It's a nice little vindicating kind of essay to exist, you know. Oh, what's up, Moodle? We're back on Halo. You're still playing Resident Evil. Look at the title. This is good old Halo shenanigans. It's Halo. Halo's good old reliable game. Easy to jump into and just play. Oh no. Polygon. The Eagles in Lord of the Rings are a plot hole, but also an us problem. So you're wrong on two fronts. They're not a plot hole, but also plot holes aren't an us problem. And yeah, Metal, I'll get you in here. It's what?
You actually said yes on stream. Hello.
Hey. No Titanfall 2. Well, last time I played Titanfall 2, it was really, spotty. And also, I'm not sure if the player base is quite as high as it was back then either. Whereas Halo just seems to be able to consistently play it. Did you hear that, what I was just saying about the Polygon article?
I saw that, but apparently they say that it's not a plot hole in the article, but I didn't bother to read it because I did not care.
Oh. I don't.
So it might be
I don't
just
want to read
clickbaity.
this.
I don't know.
Plot holes aren't actually about plot. Why does Buzz Lightyear freeze when the other toys, when a human walks into the room if he believes he's a space ranger? Yeah, that's a problem. Why would he freeze? He doesn't believe... let's see. How is it possible for an Apple PowerBook 5300 to download a virus into an alien mothership? Yeah, that's really stupid. Is it really harder to train as an offshore driller than an astronaut? Oh, that's not a plot hole. That's a contrivance. In fact, a lot of these are contrivances. Why didn't Jack get on the door with Rose? That's not a plot hole. Fuck. We're not, yeah. They're not ready for this conversation. They just need to relax and enjoy the movie. Ugh.
Oh, classic.
The thing about plot holes is that they're not just about the movie, they're mostly about the viewer. If you can't stop thinking about a logical inconsistency, it could be because the movie failed to engage you in believing it. But it's just as likely that you just weren't that into it. That's... Oh, you're a fucking... I'm not reading more of that. That's really stupid.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't read that.
That's really stupid. That's so dumb. That's so idiotic. Whoever wrote that article, like, what the hell were you thinking? Ugh, I want to play Halo. This is what happens every time I, like, engage with traditional mainstream journalism.
See, I'm just here to say coom.
Yeah. Just occasionally breaking up with coom.
Also, your thing is fucked up on screen.
Yeah, you're right. No, that's not good. No, don't do that.
You probably just want to do a right click and fit the screen or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Do the trick roonies. Also, here's another pro streamer tip. Don't expect anyone to read your title.
Yeah.
Just don't. I gave up on that a long time ago.
Most people think holes and contrivances are the same thing. Well, yeah, because the problem is, it's like, is it a plot hole that they don't try and put Jack on the door again? It's like, well, no, because it's possible that how it plays out could happen. It's just really unlikely. That's the difference between a plot hole and a plot contrivance. A contrivance is unlikely but possible, whereas a hole is an impossibility. So, surely every plot hole is also a contrivance? No, it's an important distinction, because a hole means it can't happen. It is a flat-out inconsistency. Whereas with a contrivance, it could, but for lack of a better description, it is narratively unsatisfying, because it feels like the more obvious answer or the more obvious solution just was ignored. Like the characters were being stupid in a way that's plausible, but really frustrating. So, I guess the example is that the holdo maneuver is a hole. It's a hole. Because if this is something that is this effective, there is no way that people aren't doing this all the time. Just flying ships into other ships. But it's never been done before and it's never done again. Yeah, with robots.
Robots who can just control the things. Just build like a million tiny ships with all robots and just fucking fly them into everything.
Yeah, it's a hole. Contrivances are more common, so I guess I'm trying to think of what,
It would be so effective. Like, worst case, you crash into the ship and deal damage. At best case, you just destroy the whole fleet you're against.
Yeah. It is a whole dome maneuver.
Nice one.
Oh, that wasn't mine. I stole it from chat.
Still a nice one.
In Patrick Williams' plot hole video, he literally beats up a figurative straw man. Do you mean he beats up a literal straw man? How do you literally beat up something that's figurative?
That's yes.
I feel like that's not possible. I don't know why I picked SWAT. SWAT can be really stupid. Would a
Yeah, I'm just playing a tower defense game.
would a contrivance be a piece of drone that lands right next to MJ and shows a villain's plan? I think that's a contrivance that is bordering on so absurd that it's a hole. But that probably would be a contrivance rather than a hole. Because it's possible that that would happen, it's just incredibly unlikely. I guess the problem is I don't like what's happening where people are now saying that if you're talking about plot holes, like, you're not engaging with media correctly. I find that kind of amusing.
You're watching movies wrong.
Well, it's funny because this usually comes from people who are in the, like, everything is not real crowd. And that anything can be whatever it wants to be, except the way that you engage with media. That's incorrect. You need to do it this way, my way. Which is funny because I don't think I would say that, like if you want to just watch movies and you just want to talk about how it made you feel, I would never say that that's invalid. It's more just that I'm not sure how much I care about talking about that by comparison to other things, or at least not to the exclusion of talking about how the thing was made. But again, that's fine. It's not. I don't think I would ever tell somebody that they're not allowed to talk about how it made them feel. It's just that's not what I'm really interested in most of the time. Whereas a lot of people will say, like, no, you talking about the way that it was made, like, that is wrong. You're not meant to engage with it this way. It's only how it made you feel, as if that means, as if that, I guess that's a real awkward part. The idea that how it made you feel is somehow really important when I don't know that that's the case. I'm not sure that how something makes you feel in the immediate moment is particularly valuable, at least not on its own. Because people have emotional reactions that lead them astray all the time. Your emotions are unreliable. Your brain is much more useful than your heart. Well, actually, if you get shot in the head, you die instantly. If you get shot in the heart, it takes a little bit longer. So, I think we could put the brain above the heart in all aspects. I don't know, it's just, I don't know how much it's important to you. What, how something made you feel? Yeah, sure, but I mean, let's put it this way. If you don't know who I am, like if I'm just some random person, what exactly do you care about how something makes me feel? Especially when the way that it makes me feel could be entirely derived from a personal experience that you know nothing about, and in all likelihood don't really care about. That's not very useful, whereas if we talk in a common vocabulary, like what is actually in the film, then it's a lot easier for us to actually understand what it is that we like about this movie. That's the problem. Like, when a video essayist gets, like, really emotional talking about the film, that could be for any number of reasons that I can't latch onto, because there's no references at all. They're just saying how it made them feel, which is fine if they want to do that, but you can't really expect people to understand the point that you're making if you're only appealing to your emotions, because I don't know who you are. Not really. Whereas if we're trying to at least appeal to what's in the film, we can all understand what's being said. We all know what we're talking about. We can actually, you know, agree and reach a conclusion on a topic. That's basically all I'm saying. It's subjectively important, but provides no value to the discussion of, the point of a discussion of quality in media is to arrive at the most accurate assessment of the content, and subjective feelings and interpretation are not valuable. Yeah, I just think it's an unreliable way to do it. Fringy, we just beat United 4-2. Very happy, man. I don't know anything about soccer. I don't know anything at all about soccer.
Just be upset or something, I don't know.
Or football, I guess. But we call football here is AFL, so. Unlike in America where it's called football and they very rarely kick. That's always been very confusing to me. It feels less like football and more like tackle ball.
Mootle? Why is that dumb not streaming? Listen, I can not stream.
He's allowed to not stream. He can take a day off. He's been working far too hard lately.
I know I said earlier on Mutually stream I would be streaming, but then I got sleepy and I choose differently.
Was Wumbo usually streaming earlier?
Yeah, just like 30 minutes ago.
Oh,
before,
okay.
Like,
I was just
right until after he wrote the message in the meme fab group.
Ah.
And we were just hanging out, and I said, I'm gonna stream some things. And then I got sleepy, and I was like, I'm not gonna stream some things.
Seems like everybody's sleepy today.
Yeah, I'm off work since today. And it was Father's Day here, so my dad came over and made like lots of food and just chilled out.
We had Mother's
and then I was just sitting here being bloated. It's like,
Did you hear Boogie went to jail? Yes, I did, for firing a gun in the air. Or at least that he had a warrant out for his arrest. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he turned himself in.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, because, of course, like, you're not gonna run away from the police. Like, once you hear about that, you turn yourself in. It's just, that is...
trying out the warning shot, I don't know.
That is a big oof moment, for him.
Yeah. But yeah, don't you worry, guys. There's gonna be a TISM stream tomorrow with all the lads. I actually don't know who's joining all, but it should be good foon in the boon with the Gardic phones. So, yeah.
I will have to hop on when I wake up. I need to
And
try
I'll probably be streaming long after that the EFAP part finished. So that should be
Sweet.
good TISMs. Yeah.
Boogie.
I'm probably gonna be sleeping a lot tonight because I want to.
That's totally fair. So, for those who don't know, the story with the Boogie thing was that there was a guy who went to his house, which is obviously a big no-no, like, asshole move. The guy went to his house to troll him, and Boogie walked out with a gun. From what I understand, it's not his, it was somebody else's that was there with him. So I think that's, like, strike number 1. And he pointed at the guy and he said, you know, like, get off my property. In 30 seconds, I'm gonna take a warning shot. Frank Hassel, that's his name. And he said, do it now. And Boogie did. That was his mistake. That was a big mistake, from what I understand. From what I understand about just sound use of guns, you either shoot the person or you don't. You don't fire warning shots. It achieves no purpose other than potentially endangering other people.
Yeah.
So of course, the best thing that Boogie could have done was not left his house and just called the police. That would have been the best thing to do. But he probably did the worst thing that he could have done by actually shooting the dude. In terms of consequences for him. So yeah, he might be in trouble. Seems to be the takeaway from this one. He might actually be in some real trouble for this. I don't know if they'd send him to jail for it. I think, I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, don't fire a warning shot in the US. It's illegal and can get you arrested. Better to just shoot to injure, kill, and call it self-defense or call the police. Yeah, it just seems like it's either one or the other. Use the gun on the person or don't. Not shoot it in the air. I remember... Man, this is... Because Australia, we don't have a gun culture at all. And I remember when I went playing paintball, one of the things that they mention, like, one of the earliest things they mention is don't fire victory shots into the air. Don't do it.
Yeah, because the fucking bullets come back
down.
Yeah,
well, I think that's the problem, is people assume bullets just keep going forever, like they're not physical objects. As you just said, bullets don't just disappear when shot in the sky. Exactly. The bullets... Like, the bullets come down. What are the gun laws like in Australia? Oh boy, so you can't own a gun for self-defense. That's the big one. You need to either own the gun for hunting or, like, farming purposes. I think that's bullshit, personally.
In Germany, I think.
Yeah, I really don't like that, the whole idea of... If you want to
use a gun, you need to be, like, one of those clubs. I actually don't know what they're called, but it's, you have to have a license and everything.
Yeah, of course. I just find it
But
weird that
definitely,
killing animals
go ahead.
cool, but killing and having a gun to protect yourself bad. I don't like that at all. I think I would honestly prefer it if they just weren't allowed at all, rather than this weird compromise where it's like, well, you can have it as long as you kill animals, not people. Like, for fun, and not for self-defense.
Well, you're not allowed to shoot animals for fun here. You have to be like trained and everything.
Oh, I mean, I'm not sure what the hunting, what hunting laws and stuff are like here either. It's just that I just remember reading that self-defense is not a legitimate reason. Legitimate reasons are like for farming purposes, hunting, stuff like that. The context for this was that there was something called Port Arthur massacre that happened in 1996. It was very, very bad, especially by Australian standards, for mass shootings. And after that, I think it was John Howard at the time, they basically went hard and fast and got rid of all the guns. And there really wasn't much pushback against it at all. And, from what I understand, there does seem to be a correlation between all of that and just the fact that there haven't been any shootings like that since. There's obviously still murder and stuff, but from what I understand, like, the number of gun homicides has decreased consistently since that happened.
What are Germany's gun laws? I don't know any specifics, but they're really strict already. And people still say they're not strict enough. And it's like, basically no one has a weapon here. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's the same here. I think in total there are 2 million guns in Australia. I think the number of guns hasn't increased at all, basically, since that the ban came into effect like 25 years ago. So I think by comparison, I think there are more guns than people in America, whereas whereas in Australia, there's like 1 gun per every 10 people, and the majority of those guns are going to be in rural areas for like farmers, not just in the city. Nobody has guns. You don't see guns unless it's with cops or like security people. It's just not a part of the way that Australia is. Which I guess is, because for me, for as long as I've been alive, it's basically been that way. But I mean, there was a time before that where guns were more prevalent in Australia. But I mean, every time there's been, because I remember there was like a shootout between 2 biker gangs in the 80s, and that caused them to put a lot of restrictions on shotguns and stuff. Can you have a self-defense marsupial? You know, I think that might not be a bad idea. Like, you can have your own Tasmanian devil, and then he can... That's the thing, you don't need self-defense. The entire ecosystem is your self-defense mechanism. Ban assault spiders. Oh yeah, that was because of all the boogie stuff that came about. So, yeah, Boogie made probably the worst possible decision that he could have made. Because number 1 was, don't open the door, stay inside, call the cops. And then lower down on the list is go out and talk to him, because it's probably not going to be an altercation, even though what he's done is a really dick move. And maybe just distract him until the cops come, and then he can get arrested or something. And yeah, like, you keep going down, and the worst on the list was get the gun but fire it into the air. That was Boogie did everything no guns people think you should do with guns. It seems that way, right? Like, don't you have something called CC training? It's something like responsible gun ownership training, where you learn about how to use guns, and that these are the things that you're taught. Because it seems like if you do these classes, which I've never done, but I've heard people explain what you learn in classes, that it's just there's a lot of things that you just learn that I think a lot of people wouldn't assume to be the way that it should work, if you know what I mean. Like, like the idea... Yeah, so firearm safety certificate, yeah. Concealed carry. Oh, okay, so concealed carrier CC, right. Boogie was on a stream call with Frank, and Boogie was instigating Frank to come to his property. While also saying he was gonna shoot him. Boogie has himself to blame. Oh, did he? Oh, that's a big yikes, actually. I didn't know about that. Did he goad him into coming? That was really...
I have no idea, but I'll believe it, to be honest.
Well, yeah, because it's Boogie. I don't know, he's... The problem is, like, with Boogie is the mask has been slipping more and more. I remember it was streaming that really hurt him because it, like, revealed who he truly is, you know? Because he didn't have a way to...
I think we talked about this before.
We might have, yeah. It's, like, I don't know, man. The mask slipped because, when he's recording his video, when he says something like $3 is a lot of money for a black person, he can cut that out. Whereas on stream, it just slips out.
Can't cut that out.
No, that's right. And there were a lot of things yeah. But does he believe in something? That was another one that was a mistake for him.
That was probably the most insane thing he ever said.
That was yeah, that was stupid. That was so dumb.
Big one.
The fact that he was being really performative, what will you let slip, Friggy? We'll have to see on that, won't we? I don't know. I feel like if you have enough self-awareness, you can avoid for the most part. But obviously when you're streaming, this is kind of the interesting thing, is I almost feel like streamers should be cut a little bit of slack. Because when you're trying to perform and be entertaining and talk for hours at a time, several days a week, something's gonna slip that you don't actually mean. Something's gonna come out in a way that isn't quite right, that you would have been able to... It's a little bit awkward, right? Because sometimes what people say to you on first instance is more reflective of what they actually believe. But sometimes you do, you know, as a person, you recognize that putting a little bit more thought into what you say, you can arrive at your real conclusion. I mean, how many times do people on, like, EFAP say, start on a point and then stop themselves and go, oh, wait, no, I don't actually believe that.
Yeah.
You know, there's instances of that. The problem is that Boogie doubled down on it. That was his mistake. More so than the fact that he said all that.
It's for me, it's just funny. I think the most weird thing I could say is probably being too edgy on stream, like a joke that would go too far in quotations, but mostly it's for TOS, I guess. Like, because I like to do edgy jokes offline. So
well, yeah, that's the thing.
I would totally do them online as well if
you're allowed. But unfortunately, the Wild West is over. It's over. Yeah. Live Leak was the end. We are the you know, people who were on like YouTube before 2010. That's like the Dutch Vandalin gang. You know, world don't want us no more. like more civilization.
It would have been like a joke. It was like, oh, that would be a fantastic joke, but I just can't say that. I just can't say it.
Actually, I have a problem with Boogie's $3 a lot for a burst of color thing, because he seemed to immediately realize it was a mistake. The problem is that, it's like I said before, sometimes the thing that you say immediately rings true to what you actually believe. That's the problem. Like, sometimes what you say immediately is true of what you actually believe. You're right, he clearly recognized that he made a mistake, but the question was, that doesn't seem to be a joke. I think what happened was that he was so concerned with appeasing that crowd of the political aisle that he said something really stupid.
I can see that.
Freaking comparing
Man, must fucking suck to constantly have to appeal to a certain audience all the time.
Well, that's why I don't think you should do it ever, because once you start doing it, you kind of start sliding down that slope. I think it is very important for the long-term health of you as both a human being and whatever community you want to cultivate, for people to for people to understand that you are not safe, like that any perspective you have might be worth exploring, and that just because you're an audience member doesn't mean that it's like people are going to kowtow to it, even if the majority of people are against you. Just have principles and stick to them, and be willing to push back against your own audience. And some people will leave, but new people will come in, and ultimately, I think you'll be better for it because I think you can see this a lot with certain political Twitch streamers where it's just it's pretty clear that there is an audience that's being appealed to, and then saying things that are really stupid just to sort of appease that audience. That could be really bad.
Yeah, I just like that I can just play whatever I want, but mostly the same people just hang out on my streams. It's like, oh, they're not here for a certain game I play. They're actually here to hang out with the other people in chat and me and just fuck around. It's like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like when you just look at streamers that are specialized on, I don't know, like League of Legends comes to mind.
I can't relate.
When you just play this all day because you play professionally as well. So you play it offline, you play it online, you play it professionally. Like, there's a reason those guys go fucking insane all the time.
Yeah, because I don't know about you, but I just like novelty. And in fact, I know that you like novelty because you play a whole bunch of different games.
Yeah.
It's just, I need novelty. If somebody were to say you gotta play Halo forever, it's like, nah, no.
Yeah, we like to make fun of metal. Exactly, there you
go. I was actually less referring to that one, because I imagine that a lot of his audience probably wouldn't have liked that comment at all. It's just a problem that I've noticed is that there is... But then again, this isn't a problem I've noticed. This has been a problem for, like, all political commentary since, like, the end of time. This desire to appeal to a certain crowd, like, depending on what's advantageous. I definitely get that sort of grifter vibe with a lot of political commentators. A couple of years ago, it was mainly right-leaning people who I thought were grifters. Now I think that there are a lot of lefties who are grifters as well. Where it's like, the tide is turning. Since the end of time. Oh, since the beginning of time. Or until the end of time, rather. Or until people cease to exist. Name and shame. I don't know. I don't want to... The problem is, like... I'd rather snipe without naming them. I don't think... I think I've talked about this before, right? But when it comes to, like, the right-wing grifters, it's like Dave Rubin, Candace Owens, absolutely, she's a grifter. I don't know if Dave... The problem is, like, I'm pretty sure Dave Rubin's grifting, but I also think he's incredibly stupid. So there's that as well. But then, for example, if someone's like, what do you think Ben Shapiro's a grifter? It's like, no, I think he's earnest. I think he believes what he's saying. I do think that a lot of political commentators will sometimes skew or warp their actual perspective not to get into a fight with people in their audience. But, which I think a lot of people do that. I think there are actually very few people who don't do that, and they're the commentators I like the most. Crowder is, like, complicated for me. I'm not sure what I think about him.
Coom. It's like I hear these names, like, oh yeah, I heard those names. And that's where it ends.
I was happy with that. That's good. That's good. Candace Owens is successful. She's working for the Daily Riot. Well, I guess that's the disconcerting part, right? That, like, being a grifter can be incredibly successful as a career move. But then again, ultimately, I think being a grifter is, like... That is some sad, depressing shit, where, like, your entire life is living a lie for money and pushing positions that you don't really believe in for money. That's pretty sad. That is not the station of people who are worth a whole lot in life, in the world, to just lie about your positions for money. That really is, like, a pretty pathetic existence. So in a certain sense, it's like, yeah, you're really wealthy, but on the other hand, I would never want to be in that position. Like, I really don't like the idea of having to lie for the end of time for money. That's just really... It's a really sad existence, I think.
Sounds pretty miserable.
Yeah. Damn it. So when's the next acting gig? Yeah, kind of. I'm not sure Candace is lying. Nah, you know what? She did that whole social autopsy doxing website. Why do people keep forgetting that? That was her idea. She created a doxing website because, you know, the internet was too mean and we needed to have a registry of people's names and workplaces and addresses so that we can discourage them from being mean. Yeah, that was what social autopsy was. That was her idea. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh, but then I discovered I'm a conservative. It's like, what is this? Like, how is this not a grift? You can play a character without grifting. Yeah, I guess it's the whole idea of, are you playing a character whose perspectives, while outlandish, bear some similarity to what you actually believe? And if you're doing that, then I'm not sure if that counts as grifting. But I'm not sure that I would still count that as being, like, really valuable and earnest. Because that's the defense that, like, Sean Hannity and stuff use for them when they get into trouble. They'll say, like, well, I'm playing a character. Nobody is actually taking this seriously, which is untrue. And they know it, but, you know.
Mm.
What's the difference between grifting and memeing? Well, I think the core aspect of grifting is that you are somehow lying or misrepresenting your actual views for cash. Whereas if you're memeing, you're doing it for the laughs. Which I think is a lot more fun. Because of course, if you're, it's basically trolling, right? I'm not sure that trolling and grifting are the same thing. Somehow we always end up on political commentators. The problem is, like, I find political commentary to be so frustrating, just as a thing. We talked about this on another stream, but I feel like it goes with saying, is that when it comes to any particular, issue, political issue, there's a good chance that in order to be truly well informed on it, you need to be, like, an expert, or alternatively spend a lot of time, looking at that particular field specifically. So, for instance, if, I don't know, immigration. I imagine that to be very well informed on immigration issues, you would need to specifically specialize in immigration law, or the economics regarding immigration. That this needs to be a big focus of your life for a long time, and at that point, your perspective is really valuable, and you could probably feel confident sharing it publicly. That would be what I would say in terms of, like, you know, there could be that, and then, I don't know, foreign policy, and if it were foreign policy, it would probably need to be one country in this specific region, or this particular economic bloc, and then you would need to spend your whole life focusing on that, and then you would be well informed enough to feel like you could go on TV and talk about it. Unfortunately, I think most political commentators are not even well informed on, like, a majority of issues, that there are very few things that they actually know anything about. Authority fallacy. It's not. Wow. Oof. Oh, that is a yikes from there. Like, if you. It's not the authority fallacy. It's whether or not you even know anything about what you're talking about. It's not the idea that you're citing your authority. It's more like how much you actually know. Somebody who spent a lot of time researching something is more likely to know about things rather than somebody who only. Yeah, not that it's fallacious to appeal to authority. It's not intrinsically fallacious to appeal to an authority. The fallacy is saying they are an authority, therefore it's right. Not, here's the actual argumentation that explains their position.
Metal only has the most base political takes, none. See, that's not even true. But I don't know enough about it to talk nonsense on my stream about it.
Well, I think I would find it very fascinating if somebody was watching this saying, look at Free expressing all of his political takes. It's like, yes, the political take that being informed is a good idea, and not in relation to any one specific issue, or saying what my position is on anyone's side. You should be skeptical of someone who's not an authority, but that doesn't mean someone without authority can't be correct. So the important part is the argumentation. The only reason why I would say that it's probably worthwhile to look to somebody who has studied it is not because of the fact that they have an authority, but rather that they probably know more than you do. That's the important part. But all I was trying to say on this topic is, there's a good chance that in order to be well-informed enough to express a perspective publicly on a lot of political issues, you would need to be, like, an expert in it. But political commentators talk about everything. They talk about every issue that comes past their table as if they're an expert, which is really frustrating. Like, and maybe that's just the downside of... No, you know what, actually, I was gonna say maybe that's just, like, the nature of having shows like that. But you know what? If you were running a cable network channel and you actually had a real interest in wanting to inform people, would it not make a lot more sense to have shows segmented into blocks about very specific political issues and then have somebody who is really well read in these issues to talk about it? Like, today we're talking about the US Economics Show. I'm your host, US Economics major person. And then after that it's like,
my favorite?
Hello, this is the, I don't know, this is the Immigration Show. I'm your host, Immigration Man.
Good old Immigration Man.
Yeah, good old Immigration Man has never led us astray. But the money isn't informing the people, it's in pushing messages. Yeah, and you know what? I think that's damning on all of us, rather than the networks. People like to blame the networks, but the networks are creating what sells. It is the audience's fault, first and foremost, for the content that comes out. Those who have expertise are most reticent to speak, unfortunately, because of Dunning-Kruger. Yeah, that's probably very true. The people who, ironically, have no idea what they're talking about are very confident in their knowledge on these particular topics. You're right, Friggy, but that's pretty expensive. Yeah, maybe. I listened to like an hour economics and immigration on Blinkist. I think I know what I'm talking about.
See, I would trust that person who has said
yeah,
that.
they read Blinkist.
Sounds good to me.
Oh my god, why didn't you just hit him with the sword? Humans did not evolve to exist in such an information-dense world. We just want a grill in our hearts. That's true. I don't know that, yeah, human beings aren't built for a world like this. We just bombarded with information all the time. Is Blinkist the next big EFAP meme? Yeah, maybe. It's so offensive to me, almost. Do you think that there should be government intervention to prevent massive too big to fail companies like CNN and Fox News from spewing bad and false information? So here's the thing: for as much as I don't like the way that the media ecosystem works in like Western capitalist countries, I am certainly more happy with it as it is now than I would be with the government coming in and telling people what they can or cannot talk about. I don't know that any good is going to come from the government putting in rules like that. Oh, there you are. Man, look at that. One kill. Oof. What do you think about Arkham Knight? I didn't play it. That was the one with the really bad day one DLC, so I never bought it. That was not the point of the comment? What do you mean? Wasn't the question that should the government be allowed to prevent people from lying or spreading misinformation? Again, my answer would be no. I'm not sure that I'm comfortable with any government deciding what is the truth and isn't the truth, and then choosing... I mean, I know that we have, like, mechanisms that can... Because, I mean, that's kind of what defamation's for. That's, like, the mechanism that you have. And also, yeah, I don't think Fox and CNN are too big to fail either. How many of the team... Yeah, all the teams quit. I feel like too big to fail is almost a meme at this point.
Too big to fail?
Yeah, like the idea that a company is too big for it to ever go bankrupt, and then Lehman Brothers went bankrupt, and it seemed like that was a stupid notion. Because that company was worth like $600 billion.
If you fuck up bad enough, it's gonna happen.
The problem with defamation litigation is any form of litigation is prohibitively expensive. Yeah, so the problem is, like, because like I said, defamation is one mechanism, but defamation is also like a flawed legal mechanism. There are a lot of problems, and of course it depends on which country you're in. It can be really expensive. Defamation can be used by corporations and politicians to silence journalists who just can't afford to get involved in a big thing like that. Is Disney too big to fail? You know what? If any company was too big to fail, I feel like Disney is probably one of the companies that's too big to fail. I could be wrong, but the problem is, like, people talk about how Star Wars is doing so well. It's like, well, that doesn't matter, because, like, Disney Animation, Disney Live Action, and Marvel are doing very well. And Mandalorian did very well for them, too. So I'm not even sure if it, like, fully holds true. Alphabet? Yeah, probably Alphabet might be too big to fail. Yeah. Anything could fail if you use enough nukes on it. Ah, this sucks. Half the whole team's quit. Too big to fail refers to a company being too important for the government to allow them to fail, therefore it must be bailed out. That is an aspect of what it means to be too big to fail. You're too big that you won't be allowed to fail. But I think that might be a change from what it was. I think before the GFC, too big to fail meant there's like no way this company's gonna go out of business. And then after the GFC, after like Lehman Brothers went down, too big to fail almost takes on a different meaning. Oh, we got 5 minutes. There's only this sucks. Have you seen the new Cruella trailer? The tagline is, there are more bad things to come. Oh. Fuck. Don't tell me that. What are these death grunts? You're right, it is accurate in a lot of ways. Have you watched Invincible? No, I haven't, and I'm not sure that you guys want me to watch it. Wow. You guys all really like it, at least it seems that way, and I wonder.
I heard multiple takes. I heard all the takes all over the world.
Oh boy.
It's like, it's really good, it's really bad, it's okay. It's like,
yeah.
I heard everything, so I don't know.
Have you watched anything good lately? No, not really.
Father?
Well, yeah, but that I don't know if that even counts as lately anymore.
Why? We watched it like 2 weeks ago.
I guess that is lately, yeah. I keep saying I need to show you guys Steve Jobs, and I keep forgetting to show it to you. I'm pretty sure you guys will like that one. And on that note, Social Network. Have you seen The Social Network?
Nope.
We need to watch Social Network. It's really good. I don't really watch any movies or so I'm just here to shit on everything with you guys.
Oh boy. Those jalapenos still working.
Oh yeah, sorry for talking about Meteor on a Fringy stream, that's our bad. Again, I've heard that there are people who really like it. I don't know, I just wonder. I wonder if it's going to be an Atlas situation, where it is an animated show that tries to do something a little bit, like, unconventional, or a little bit, you know, sort of adult in terms of subject matter, and that therefore it's gonna just get more of a pass than, like, a live-action show would. That's all I'm wondering. it's got J.K. Simmons in it. That's neat. Southpaw liked it. Yeah, I've heard that. Southpaw thinks Far From Home is worse than Winter Soldier though, so. Frankie, do you prefer talking about politics or media? I definitely prefer talking about media. I don't like talking about politics, which is the reason why, during that whole conversation, I've basically not expressed a perspective on a lot of issues. I feel like it is a minefield that is not fun to navigate, unlike media, which is a minefield that is fun to navigate. And also just because I don't know, I find stories more valuable than talking about politics. But of course, politics is important, right? So it's kind of unavoidable. Fringy prefers giving investment tips. Are you excited for the Marvels where two of the main characters are extremely unlikable with Monica and Carol? Oh, yeah, it's gonna be great. Miss Marvel's gonna be shown up too. Woohoo! I have read, though, that they're changing her powers and that she's basically gonna be Purple Lantern, which seems really bizarre as a decision.
Okay.
Well, so her powers are basically Mr. Fantastic. She's like, stretch. That's her thing, and get bigger and smaller.
Stretch. I don't know where it's so funny. Her powers are stretch.
Her powers are stretch. Yeah, that's her powers. Because she's an Inhuman. But apparently in the show, as the rumors go, she's not going to have that power at all, and that she has a bracelet that lets her make purple mind constructs. So basically Green Lantern but purple.
Oh yes.
Stretch, isn't that Mauler's power? It's a lot of people's powers.
That wasn't me.
It's crazy for me how I went from liking Monica to despising her. It's not that hard in the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now. It's been happening a lot lately. I guess Vision came out okay. Because, but then again, we don't even know who Vision is anymore.
I don't even know who you are.
Slayer.
Is there any chance you'll have a debate with Southpaw about Far From Home? I'm sure it's probably inevitable.
Lost the lead.
I think that... Oh. Gib. Ah! Monica was more likable when she was mind-controlled. Yeah. Why have a verbal chat, a debate with Southpaw where you can have a streamed cage fight?
Yo, sick. Oh, that's Kino.
I mean, in terms of Marvel characters, it's they've been on a roll in terms of taking characters who were likable and just destroying them. Sam, Wanda, Monica, I guess, but that was more of a quick turnaround. And who's next? Clint. I wonder what they're gonna do to. Well, Clint was already damaged in Endgame potentially, so you know. Oh, what? Oh, so we got
someone in chat said.
Yeah. Oh, I
was
swear
just reading
somebody in chat says Peter. Yeah.
Yeah. What? Why? What's wrong with that name?
I wonder how they're gonna destroy Black Widow. I feel like it's entirely possible because again, she was like one of the characters who came out unscathed. So I wonder what they're gonna do to ruin her. Loki's next. Yeah, but remember, this is like weird alt Loki, so like, you know, it's almost like a blank slate because you're just working with 2012 Avengers. I'm not sure if you can assassinate that character. But who knows, maybe you can, I don't know. I think Black Widow will be the interesting one. Can you assassinate dead characters? The answer is probably yes. Do you think Marvel still has stored goodwill, or has that ship sailed? Oh, I mean, I think it's worth noting that the majority opinion seems to be that people are quite happy with what's happening with Marvel at the moment. Like, this idea that they're not doing well at the moment is a fantasy. I remember somebody in the stream was like, oh, Eternals is gonna get cancelled. This is, like, delusional, almost. This belief that, like, what's happening with Marvel right now is, like, widely being considered the downfall. For a lot of people, Marvel is, like, reaching its peak. A lot of people believe that this is, like, the best Marvel's been. Look at all these crazy new things. They're taking risks. Ooh! Like, as if that means anything at all. How can you be happy with this? Because it's subversive and, like, I don't know, it's talking about politics. So that means it's good, right? It's really intelligent. Look, hey, look, they have money problems. Isn't that cool? Like, that's kind of where we're at.
Epic.
Marvel is too big to fail. If there ever was a media property that's too big to fail, I think Marvel's reached that point. I think they would have to release a string of universally derided content, and I'm not sure that that's possible. In terms of like the public perception, because you know, TLJ is kind of an anomaly when it comes to, and again, like half the people who watched TLJ really liked it, so. And I mean, Disney and Star Wars is doing fine in terms of like, they've got their new shows coming out that are gonna get watched by lots of people. They're gonna have new movies coming out soon, and people are gonna go watch those. Star Wars is still, and plus, I'm pretty sure it's still selling a lot of toys, right? So, Star Wars certainly isn't doing as well as it could have been, in terms of totally dominating the landscape, but. MCU Peter would not do what he did in that scene. Yeah, he would, because he believes that Mysterio will be able to handle it. He wants to help, but he's struggling at the moment. And again, all you need as evidence of what Peter would do is that every time that the threat is there, he immediately jumps in to help. We'll talk about this whenever we debate it, but the people who say that Peter's character is, like, bad, just, I don't know, you're just wrong on that one. He's like the best character in the MCU at the moment. There's nobody else. Except for the Guardians, and even then, the Guardians were dealt a bit of damage in Endgame. Quill suffers no consequences for the stuff with the snap. Oh, crap. And also, Peter still helps. Yeah, that's an important part. He still does help. Yeah, but he's Iron Man Jr. in my comics, also MG Black. Yeah, the comics argument is always fun. I'm worried about Spider-Man 3 though, with all this multiverse stuff. torn as hell on Nebula because I love her story in Endgame, but there's also some gaping plot holes. Nebula's complicated because on the one hand, I do really like the story that she has, but on the other hand, she was so stupid that she allowed herself to be captured, which allowed the end battle to happen and cost many lives. When she gets sucked up into Thanos' ship, she has many, many opportunities to get out of there and use her time machine, which, as we've seen, can be activated in an instant, and she doesn't, and allows herself to get captured. And somehow, that allows Thanos to use his ship to get to the future, and then the final battle happens. So... Oh. I'm just tabbed out. Oop. So that's the problem, like... The actual character stuff is really good, but the holes do deal some damage to her character in terms of her intelligence. Cause yeah, if you were to ask me like who are the characters who are coming out the strongest in Endgame, it's Black Widow, Nebula, Rocket, I think as well. I guess Rocket if you include the totality of what's going on with him in Infinity War as well. I really like Rocket. He literally said, I'd love to help Mr. Fury, but I can't be spotted. After Washington, everyone will know who I am. Then Fury sends him away and gives him a new suit so he can help. Yes, there is like an actual reason. The reason being if people know who he is, that's going to put his family in danger. And you know what? If you're not okay with that, then you better not be okay with Tony not reversing time. Except Peter's is a lot more legitimate because it's an immediate threat to his life that he won't be able to fix at some point in the future. And also it's reasoned. And also there's all the other issues. Do you really believe Marvel's getting a lot of positive feedback from the last two shows? Maybe in a small bubble. Most people I watch pick it apart. Yep, this is the bubble. There is a bubble of people who think that they're bad. Because in terms of the broader reception, a lot of people are like, oh, WandaVision was great. Look at Elizabeth Olsen. Ain't she pretty? Like, there's definitely that element. Which is true. But still, there's a lot of that. And then, like, in terms of Falcon and Winter Soldier, it's like, oh man, look, they're, like, addressing political issues. That's something. There's definitely more positive than negative when it comes to these shows. Seems that way anyway. Critically, they're being very well received, but that's not really worth a whole lot. In terms of the audience, it still seems like they're being well received. I guess what will tell us is both of those shows have been put up for consideration for the Emmys. I don't know that any of them would get nominated, but then again, Mandalorian got nominated. Wow. The only people I know IRL who've seen Mando and WandaVision love them. Yeah. I think that's the thing is like, it's the audience, there is an audience for these shows and it's very big. Funny joke, superhero content doesn't get awards. Black Panther got nominated for an Oscar, right? And apparently there are people who think that Eternals might be like a film that they want to put up, or that Marvel wants to put up for consideration for an Oscar. I've yet to understand what happened to the Golden Globes. From what I understand, the controversy is that the Foreign Press Association, or whatever they're called, don't have enough diversity in their ranks, so... I think. I don't know enough.
I think there was one of the parts. I think that there were multiple.
There might be other issues too. Yeah.
I forgot what it was.
I was talking to someone about how dumb Falcon and Winter Soldier was, and they said, "I think you're looking into it too much." Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? Is what you will tend to find is that the normie perspective on media is, if you're talking about these things, is you're looking into it too much. I just wanted to have fun with a movie. That's like the average perspective on films. Like, what we do, and even to the same extent, like, what people do who are, like, high top or stuff, like video essayists, this is not, like, normal in terms of media discussion. What is normal is, yeah, I liked it, it was fun. I didn't really vibe it. That's, like, that's the standard way that media is approached by most people. And if you talk about plot holes and stuff, or issues, yeah, generally you will be told that you're looking into it too much, or that you're thinking about it too much, or why didn't you just have fun with it? That's normal. I think it's worthwhile to remember this, but again, you know, who cares, right? Like, it shouldn't even matter whether or not people say that, because these are stupid points. But most people don't want to talk about movies that much, which is totally fine, because everybody has different, you know, things that they care about. But that's all I would ever say if, like, you were confronted with that. It's like, oh, cool, I don't know, I just care about stories more than that. I heard Shang-Chi may not even be airing in China. Yeah, I heard about that. That Eternals... I think Eternals, the thing is that the director Chloe Zhao said some things about China that were pretty negative a long time ago.
No.
Well, I think what happened was that when she won the Oscar, those were starting to circulate, and then it kind of got censored off the internet in China. I don't know why Shang-Chi. Maybe it's just the fact that it is like a Chinese sort of influenced one. I don't know about, yeah. No way Eternals is playing in China. That's probably gonna hurt them, isn't it? Like, I imagine Shang-Chi's gonna hurt them too. Cause I'm gonna go ahead and guess they were probably banking on Chinese audiences for that one. Of course, the problem is, like, from Marvel's POV, what exactly could you do now? The movie's been made. She made it. Like, I don't know. You can't remove her from the credits. That's probably not contractually allowed or legally allowed. And even if it was, imagine the blowback if you, over here if you did that. The first, like, Asian, woman director to win, like, an Academy Award, well received, seems to be good at her job. And you pulled this, you pulled the rug out from underneath her. That's not going to go over well at all.
Oh, no.
You don't think it's no way Eternals makes money? It's Marvel. It's gonna make money, man. Like, I don't...
Yeah.
Ant-Man... I was about to say Ant-Man and the Wasp, but that made... Ant-Man proved that they can't. Like, it doesn't matter what they make. Guardians was like, maybe this was a fluke. Ant-Man was... No matter what Marvel makes, it's gonna make money. That's what that showed to us. Eternals is gonna make its money back. It's absolutely gonna make its money back. It might not make, like, over $1 billion, but it wouldn't surprise me if it made over, like, 600, 700 million. That wouldn't surprise me at all. It's Marvel. It's Marvel. You got, like, I don't know what to say otherwise. Like, it's gonna make its money back. A co-worker of mine who isn't the most invested in thinking a lot about media thought Falcon and Winter Soldier was terrible, which is surprising to me. Yeah, interesting. Marvel may as well have a money printer. Yeah, at this point. They can do whatever they want and it's going to be successful. Nobody was talking about it until just recently, and there's been no talk about it. Yeah, but it's because they haven't, like, shown any trailers for it. Once they start showing trailers for it, I'm sure people are going to start talking about it. Like... It's probably not going to make as much money as Spider-Man. I mean, I would agree with you on that, but I totally see that film being successful. It's definitely making its money back, and if we're talking like its actual worldwide gross, I guess assuming that theaters are all open and it's all normal like that, and there isn't any Disney Plus stuff going on, I wouldn't be surprised if it made like 700 million bucks. I feel like that's almost like the bare minimum, 600 million. I don't know that Marvel can make films that make less than that anymore. I'm pretty sure Ant-Man and the Wasp made like $650 million. That's Ant-Man and the Wasp. And I mean, the cast of that movie is stacked for Eternals. Like Angelina Jolie, Kit Harington, Richard Madden. There's like a lot of actors in that movie. Isn't the Spider-Man the most successful superhero in terms of money of all time? I think it is now. It might have been Batman for a while, because remember, during that Amazing Spider-Man era, those films weren't making as much money as they used to. But now it's totally recovered. It's either Spider-Man or Batman. I think it might be Spider-Man, though, now. In fact, I think it is. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 Spider-Man movies. There are about 8 or 9 Batman movies, and I think the Spider-Man movies overall have made more money each time. I think you're right.
Gain the lead.
Spider-Man wins when you take merch into account by a huge margin. Yeah, Spider-Man merch is unreal, like in terms of how popular it is. It's Spider-Man. I think Batman's second, though. I think when it comes to just totally the value of these IPs, I think it's Spider-Man first and then Batman second. And I think Superman still is third. I think it is, but I'm not sure. I don't know if it's Iron Man. Are we talking about like individual superhero? I think Superman still. Actually, wait, sorry. To be clear, are we talking about how valuable the IPs are overall, like of all of it, merchandise too, or just the movies? Because if it's just the movies, I think it's Spider-Man, then Batman, and then it probably is Iron Man. Or X-Men. It might actually be X-Men. Movies? Yeah, so movies it would be Spider-Man, then Batman, and then I think X-Men. And in fact, yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, like Iron Man and other superheroes didn't get popular until the MCU. That's definitely true. Iron Man was kind of like a B-lister before the MCU, and now he's... I'm still not sure if I would put him on the S tier. I think Mola disagrees with me on this, but when we're talking about like the S tier of recognizable superheroes, it is Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man. That's like the S tier. I feel like Iron Man is on the precipice of being into S tier, but I still feel like he's in the A tier. The A tier being like Iron Man, Captain America, The Flash, Wonder Woman. That'd be like your A tier, and then your B tier down from there. I think Thor's gone up to A tier now as well. Iron Man is at the top of the A tier. Yeah, I think so. Like I said, I'm just not sure if he's still in the S tier. Because I think you need to take into account everybody. So like if I asked somebody who was 70 years old, I'm pretty sure they would have heard of Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man. But Iron Man, that might still be like an iffy one. If you know what I mean. I think current day he absolutely is there. What I'm talking about when I say S tier is that I could speak to basically anybody in the world and they would know who they are. I'm not sure that I could speak to anybody in the world and be absolutely sure that they would know who Iron Man is. I don't know. I don't know. Most people probably. That's why I'd put him in A tier. But like I feel like I could go to the middle of like Uganda and say, "Hey, you heard of Spider-Man?" and they all would know who he is. That's what I'm talking about when I say like the S tier. Aquaman is S+++ tier. I feel like Aquaman's kind of funny because everybody kind of knows who he is, but he was a joke. And then for some reason his movie made like $1 billion. I still don't. I'm convinced that the reason why Aquaman made so much money is because people thought it was a Marvel movie.
Wait, why would they think that?
Captain America... What's that, sorry? Oh, I just think it's just a superhero movie. Like, oh, it's Marvel, right? I think that's what happened.
Okay.
No, like, we wouldn't make that mistake, but I think, like, you know, average people who don't know that much about comics might legitimately have thought that Aquaman was, like, Marvel.
But I would say it differently. They would just say, like, oh, it's a comic book. they probably don't even make the difference between DC
Yeah,
and Marvel.
but that's what I'm saying, is they mistook it for the thing that's actually really popular, which is Marvel. In some way or another. Not that they, like, explicitly thought it was Marvel, but that they thought it was, like, part of that, you know, group of things. It had the name James Wan from The Conjuring fame, may have had something to do with it. I don't know if that it explains $1 billion. It made more money than The Dark Knight. Like, I know that that film performed incredibly well in China, so that probably had a lot to do with it. And maybe it was Jason Momoa, yeah. I'm not sure if the Game of Thrones had anything to do with it. I think he's just a likable dude. That may well just have been it. Was just that him being kind of a likable person on screen just helps push that movie. Because, I mean, goddamn, like, I'm not sure what else you'd be latching onto. Amber Heard's Mirror is, like, utterly devoid of character. I find it weird that people who are like, oh, I think she did a good job. It's like, I don't even see how it's possible to do a good job. Like, what does a good job look like with Mara? She's a nothing character. And she's, like, there for most of the movie. And then it's like, I guess Ocean Master was kind of funny. Like, he was kind of funny. Patrick Wilson, isn't it? Yeah, Ocean Master. He was funny. I guess Willem Dafoe, but he barely got anything to do in that movie either. Maybe people wanted to like Nicole Kidman, but again, she was barely in that movie either. And the only reason that, like, Tamura Morrison, I just like him. It's the same as Jason Momoa. I just like him. It had nothing to do with the character that he was playing. Ocean Master. Dun dun dun. Yep. Aquaman is awesome. It's just some lame show Super Friends made him look like a joke. that show irreversibly damaged his reputation. Because all everybody says is, "Oh, you talk to fish, right?" That's it. And then people got mad when they put that joke in Justice League about talking to fish. Wait, no, I hear you could talk to fish. That was his Snyder joke. He cut it from the Snyder cut. You need to look at that first trailer. There's a lot of things that get cut. The cringy Aquaman, yeah! That was the Snyder thing. That was before Joss Whedon came in. Like, guy controls 3/4 of the earth, but everybody does the fish talking meme. It's funny. He talks to fish. Like, that's amusing. It's like, what's your superpower? I talk to fish. I mean, I think that was that Family Guy joke. I got like 10 trout that are coming right now. It's like, oh, there they are. There they are. Aquaman was great, Batman the Brave and the Bold. I remember that show. Wasn't that just like a show that showcased all of the really crazy, weird, zany people in like the DC universe and Batman's Rogues Gallery? Yeah, that was the theme song. I definitely watched that show, but I don't remember anything about it. It was inspired by the Silver Age of comics. Yeah, I mean, that much is obvious in just the way that that show looks. And I remember there was a show that came before it, The Batman, I think. That came out a few years before that one. I vaguely remember that. Yeah, that was the theme song for that one too. Less botched. Yeah, see, you just mentioned it. The Batman, yeah. I don't remember anything about that one either, though. That's the problem. These shows didn't make nearly... I mean, admittedly, I was older at the time, but these shows didn't make as much of an impression on me as, you know, like Ed, and Eddie and stuff. Pew 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 Ed, and Eddie. Yeah. Groot,
Yes, I think he went insane.
Are you a fan of the Grim Adventures of Billy and Maddie? Yeah, I really like that show. I'm not even sure. I really liked the Grim Reaper in that show. He's just funny. I remember that one too. Huh?
It never stops.
No, it never stops. There's too many songs. I just remember there being a thing in the intro where a bunch of people who are dead in the grave are like doing peace signs and throwing their hands in the air. I can't remember the Courage the Cowardly Dog. I can't remember what that one was in terms of the song. Powerpuff Girls was really memorable. Fighting crime, trying to save the world. Here they come just in time. The power. They're gonna ruin that fucking thing with that stupid live action remake that they're doing. God, I can't take it anymore. Like CW just making all these crap shows. And it's not enough that, like, when they're ruining Batwoman, that's totally fine, because I don't care about that at all, like, as a thing. It was unruinable, because it was already shit. But, like, Powerpuff Girls is actually good. And then they're gonna make this stupid show where they're gonna fight fucking monsters, but then they're gonna have to deal with relationship drama as well. God! I hate it so much. And I don't know what they're gonna come for next, but there's something else they're gonna come for. Powerpuff EFAP? Nah, no. Like, I don't want to watch that show.
You don't have a choice anymore.
Well, I probably, yeah. I mean,
fucked.
I probably will end up watching it just to see how they, like, what they do.
DW stands for crap writing. Oh shit.
Dexter's Lab, yeah. I don't know about Dexter's Lab. I wonder if it's safe or not. The problem is, like, if they remaked it, it would be a disaster. It's like Rags was saying, they make Dee Dee incredibly competent and resourceful. She'd be better than Dexter at doing experiments. I can barely remember the Johnny Bravo one. It's been a long time since I watched Johnny Bravo.
I never watched that show. I don't even think it even aired in Germany.
Do you ever watch?
I only heard about it like way later in my life.
Did you watch any other like Cartoon Network stuff or?
What did we have? I remember Darkwing Duck that aired here in Germany.
Mm.
I watched that.
I don't remember that one.
What else? Oh, fuck, I'm so old.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because Cartoon Network was sort of more like the late '90s, early 2000s.
I mean, we don't really have Cartoon Network in itself.
Oh well, it
with,
was
like,
because it was on Foxtel over here, like our equivalent of cable.
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm seeing people talking about cat, dog, chicken, and cow. It's like, god damn, yeah, that's like,
Oh,
that was
cat
like,
dog. Yeah, we had that.
yeah.
I
Cat
remember
dog,
watching that.
cat dog, something, something, some cat dog.
So weird. But back when the cartoons were translated, they also translated the songs or made
Oh
own songs
no,
for it.
singing them in German, I guess.
Yes. Oh yes.
5 minutes.
What's that do?
I remember when I was like, as I was getting older and they started transitioning away from those old classic shows that I was like, I guess less and less happy with Cartoon Network at the time. Like, even as a kid, I remember not being super on board with a lot of what they were doing later on. Though, with hindsight, I remember like Ben 10 was actually alright. Or not like, I remember not finding the original series all that fun to watch, but Ben 10 Alien Force, I think it was. I remember liking that. Oh, see, maybe I'm the wrong one. Like, I was the... No, you know what? I remember liking the first Ben 10 series. I think at first I wasn't really into it, but then later on when I like started watching it, that it was actually pretty fun. I'm not sure how it would hold up now, but and then they did a remake of that as well, didn't they? Like, around the same time they did the original Powerpuff Girls remake. They definitely... Yeah, that's right. There was... Because now I'm getting the timeline in order. So there was OG Powerpuff Girls, which was really good. And then they did, like, an animated remake version where it's slice of life kind of bullshit and not really much fighting monsters at all. And now they're doing the live action one. So this will be attempt number 3 to milk Powerpuff Girls.
Yay.
I remember the controversy with that other remake was that they didn't bring back the original voice actresses. For whatever reason that was. When, like, it's voice acting. You can just have the same cast, but they just decided not to. Oh no, it's Powerpuff Girls Z. Yeah, that one too. But I guess I'm talking about, like, the full series, right? There are only 3 of those. The classic Tom and Jerry Looney Tunes episodes aired midday on Cartoon Network. Those were the days that they were. God, Looney Tunes, so good. Duck season. It's classic. Yeah, that was Animaniacs too. That was before Cartoon Network though, I think. It's time for Animaniacs to little, and we're zany to the max to little. Come join the Warner Brothers and the Warner sister Dot. Just for fun, we run around the Warner movie lot. Hey Arnold, I vaguely remember that.
Oh, we had that.
Yeah. What was it about?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I barely remember.
He had a football head.
That's yeah.
That was the gimmick.
That's right. That was Nickelodeon, right? Or was that wasn't Cartoon Network?
I think that was Nickelodeon, yeah.
Because Nickelodeon, and that was on Rugrats as well. Because I remember that. What do you think of the Animaniacs revival? I haven't seen it, so I don't know. I suppose I ought to. Yeah, that might be worthwhile. Talking about Civil War with someone, we came to the conclusion that it's an 8 out of 10 because of these reasons. Why is Vision not in Lagos? He can hide anywhere. Does Vision... Ant-Man's powers are inconsistent and Cap holding Tony in a final fight with one hand doesn't make sense since we've seen Tony fly real fast. You've thrown a lot at me all at once, and now it's all scroll away, so I'm not sure what... Why would you assume that Vision would be in Lagos? Is that... Why would he be there? Why would he necessarily be there? And if the answer is, well, more people, they didn't bring everybody that they could have there. They didn't have Rhodey, and he's part of the Avengers. They assumed that they could handle it without him. And for the most part, they did. That's a little beyond, like, almost what Vision... You know what I mean? It's almost like that's not something that he would be tasked to do. I'm sure I could come up with better answers, but on the fly, I don't think that's a problem. Ant-Man's powers are inconsistent, but they are inconsistent in Ant-Man, so they are consistent in their inconsistencies. And Wanda can't hide anywhere. Yeah. Sins of the Father? Yeah, well, the problem is that they've inherited a really flawed system. And so it's like, well, either you change what Ant-Man does, or you be consistent with what Ant-Man says is how the powers work, despite the fact that it's inconsistent. Like, it's kind of in a really bad spot with Ant-Man, because his powers don't make sense, but they never did. So it's like, how do you change them, or do you stay consistent with what you've been shown? I can't remember what the third one was. It's not an 8 out of 10, though. It's better than that. Civil War is so good. Indeed it is. Fuck.
Language.
No.
Okay. Sorry.
How could Cap hold Iron Man down since we saw Iron Man fly fast before? He damaged his thrusters, remember? Like, very near at the beginning of the battle, Iron Man's thrusters were damaged. That's why he can't fly away. That's the thing. That final battle is trying really hard to, like, explain how they're slowly and slowly chipping away at the capabilities of Iron Man. Yeah, like, a lot of stuff to his suit's been damaged at this point. His thrusters got destroyed right at the beginning of the battle. Civil War is good, but Guardians 2 is better. No, Civil War is the best one. Like, I think Civil War... Guardians 2 is good, but, like, that's a weird statement to me. Like, don't get me wrong, Civil War is good, but Guardians 2 specifically is better. I think that Civil War is the best one. And also, Cap had him pinned down as well at the end there. I get very defensive with Civil War because usually people are coming to fight us on this stance. I'm happy to accept if somebody thinks it's good. There's an argument with Guardians 2 and Civil War. No, I don't think so. I think Guardians is really good, but I think Civil War is, like, great to excellent, so... Big one being... I mean, the obvious ones would be, like, if you're talking about, Guardians 2 has great main characters, but Civil War has a great villain, whereas Ego is not a great villain. Ego is a serviceable villain. So you got that. That alone would put Civil War above it if we're talking strictly about that. And also, Civil War gets the multiplier effect with how much it's juggling and how successfully it does it. That's got to be worth something. Guardians 2 is great. I should clarify that, actually. I just think Civil War is excellent. I don't even know why I said great's excellent. I think it's excellent. Vision being able to be incorporeal might be really broken, as it makes him immune to all attacks. Yeah, it is a problem. WandaVision was the clear example of that. Why doesn't he and White Vision just go incorporeal all the time and the battle is over? Why do they selectively choose to be tangible? It's really stupid. The big thing that helps in Civil War is that Vision knows that he's really powerful and he doesn't want to hurt anybody, which would explain why he's really not going as hard as he could. Because, like, Vision is probably the strongest of the lot of them. But he doesn't want to hurt anybody. Because it's like he said, a catastrophe. What do you think about Resident Evil 8?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's, why don't you, Metal? I haven't heard your thoughts yet.
Wow, clearly not watching my streams.
I was asleep when you were streaming.
Oh, so that's an excuse.
And then I was streaming.
I had a lot of fun with the game, but it's fucking awful.
yeah. I feel like I'm not sure if I'm in the awful territory yet, but like that game is not what I would call good. Even though I had fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, I played through it 4 times. I played all the difficulties.
Oh, Christ, you played a lot. Then your perspective is probably worth a lot more on this one.
Yeah, I did like the first playthrough. I tried to collect everything, and then I started unlocking the infinite guns, that hard mode. And I was like, why aren't you streaming? Because I don't wanna. Yeah, no, it was fun, but it's not a fantastic game.
You're right, that is authority fallacy. My mistake. Deferring to somebody who's played it more than me. It really, yeah, it's that nothing in that game makes sense. Like, it's kind of.
Oh yeah, the story breaks right at the start. It's hilarious.
Yeah, why? Like, I don't even how. Mother Miranda is there in the house, but I guess just decides not to take the kid straight away. Lets herself.
Why did Miranda cut the baby before it? Because we need the game to happen, I guess.
Yeah.
It's so weird. She cuts it into 4 and then puts it back together to get another baby.
What does it even mean to cut it into 4? How's it? What happened?
No, all of that shit happens off screen. You get all the things, put it back in the chalice.
Why does
then
Chris
you fight
decide
Heisenberg, and then Miranda, I guess, gets the fucking chalice and does something with it. It's so fucking weird because you use it to just take the elevator down to Heisenberg's place.
But she needs it
and
to
it's
do
like,
all
oh,
the
just
crazy
leave it
shit.
there. It's fine. We get it later. And then just, I guess she gets it and does things with it. I don't know. There's lots to talk about. Like, story-wise, the story is utterly in pieces. It's hilarious.
It's insane how stupid that story is.
Yeah.
Chris doesn't tell you anything and then is like, hey, look, it's better this way. And it's like, well, how that... Like, you were... Chris is such an idiot in that game. And I was there standing Chris talking about how he's underrated, like, compared to Leon. Everybody likes Leon. People don't care about Chris as much. I defended you, Chris. Is the gameplay at least good?
The gameplay is mediocre.
Yeah.
It's nothing insane. It works when it needs
functional.
to work. It's
and in some ways it's
super basic. But even in the gameplay, I found things that just don't really work properly.
Yeah.
Like, one example, I unlocked the assault rifle, and it has an auto-fire mode. It has, like, the highest fire rate if you hold the button down. And then at some point it's like, oh, what happens if I want to do, like bursts myself? It's like, click, 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 click. If you click it fast, like, click, 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 the game doesn't register properly. It just goes, like, like, it doesn't know what to do. The game doesn't know what to do with all my clicks. It's, yeah, but I have notes. Should be a hoot.
Chris. Sure. Yep.
I love when Chris tells Ethan, like, this is audio death after
Yeah.
you killed 2 of the lords
know.
yourself. It's like, oh, okay,
Like,
yeah.
God
I'm
damn.
clearly not capable at all.
Ethan's doing all the hard... He killed all 4 of them. I mean, I guess
of them.
Chris helped with Heisenberg, but he didn't do it. He went off to do something else.
Oh yeah, he just built this weird tank that's allegedly out of poly something that doesn't work with his
Yeah.
powers, but then it still works in the cutscenes with his powers, and he just flings it around. I don't know what's happening in that game. That game is a fucking
It's insane.
insane fever dream of
Yeah.
game. Yeah, if anyone in chat wants to play it, wait for a sale. Please don't buy it at full price.
Yeah, I paid
Thanks
for it at
again,
full
James, for
price.
buying
Holy
it.
crap.
James bought it for me. Thank you. Thanks. I didn't even plan to play it, but then people in my chat were like, "No, play it, play it."
Well, I wasn't planning on it either
buy
until Mola
oh, yeah.
convinced me.
Yeah. Yeah. Why does everyone keep dying on me? Fucking dialogue in that.
That
game.
was hilarious. That was the
Ethan-
funniest shit. Like, the amount of times I just burst out laughing at this stupid game.
My absolute favorite is when he walks in the factory back to the one thing and just goes like, "It's dark."
Yeah, thanks. Who are you talking to, Ethan?
Shit fucking cracks me up every time. It's so good. It's dark. Like, oh, you think? Oh, God. You're out of your depth, Ethan. Goes on to kill 2 more lords.
Yeah.
And the last boss. You did it, Ethan! It's like, yeah, I did.
I like how there are people who seem to unironically, like, enjoy the story.
Yeah, this,
I don't know why.
they don't care.
Have you finished it yet? Yeah, I finished it on stream. You can look at the archives right now on Cosmoronic and also here on this fucking channel. So it's probably better just
But
watch
only
it here.
But only for 30 days here, because they only store it for
I think
30
I got
days.
60 now, but yeah.
Oh, look at you, big boy, partner boy.
It's a weird rule. I don't know. I guess they just don't want to have all that hard drives.
It's probably one of the only benefits you got from getting partners.
It's, yeah, sick. Well, because, yeah, I'm not sure what the other ones were.
You have more emote slots, I think.
Oh, that's
Wow.
actually, I need to do that. That reminds me. I got a lot of, like, sort of housekeeping I need to do. Fuck.
What do you think was a bigger letdown, RE8 Amnesia Rebirth? So, I had some kind of
Hope.
words. It's getting late. I was expecting something out of Amnesia Rebirth
Yes, you had
because I
hope.
played Soma, and Soma was fucking amazing. Soma was fantastic.
Still need to play
And then I played that fucking abortion of a game, Amnesia Rebirth. What a fucking terrible video game. Holy shit. RE8 at least has it was fun to play. I mean, I played it for fucking 7 days straight on stream every day. So
yeah, clearly
there
it's
you
doing
go.
something well.
So I definitely had fun with it. I probably don't want to ever look at it again after this week, but
Yeah, fair enough.
I had my fun. I had my fun. No, Amnesia Rebirth is by far. I mean, I didn't even play RE7, so
I didn't play RE7
which I actually might do because it's on the Game Pass now.
Captivating is the word I keep seeing for RE8. Really? Okay.
Captivating by its insanity, maybe, but
Yeah.
definitely not because of the story. There are people that think Ethan is a super Chad. Why?
I don't know, because he tried to save his daughter.
Because he's an idiot and just says "fuck you" to Heisenberg, even though you have a common enenemy.
Oh, it's
What
funny
a-
you say
what a
that, because
ch-
I kind
what
of
a
like
Chad.
that sequence. I don't know why.
Yeah. Like, oh, no, fuck you. I was gonna go down there to propeller head, boy. It's like, okay. Amnesia RE8 birth. Oh, Jesus.
Captivating boober.
boober.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, it was funny because I played on casual on the last playthrough I did with an infinite assault rifle that deals 400 damage per shot. It was fucking hilarious. The bosses just melt. It's funny. You deal so much damage, you have to wait for them to do their thing on the map. Like Dimitrescu, for example. She actually needs to destroy all the things on top to go to her next phase. So I probably dealt like 6 times the damage I had to, but she was just running around destroying the I don't know, the ceiling or whatever it was.
Oh, right, okay.
And then only then she flies away to throw her flies at you.
Throw flies at you.
Oh, yeah.
Cosmoronic channel be stream archive. Yeah, that among other things. Highlights whenever I get around to doing those. I think judging by Rags' comments is going to be the harshest on the game. Yeah, I've heard he... Yeah. Seems that way.
A Monk really hates that game too.
Oh,
I wonder how harsh he is going to be. Yeah, Rex apparently found a lot of game-breaking things.
Oh boy, fun.
for like, apparently every area has like an invisible trigger or like invisible area where the enemies are allowed to be in. Which actually makes sense because I saw that with some of the mini bosses. There's the one, the werewolf with the spears, like I guess like the boss werewolf of all of them, whatever you want to call it. And you could basically just, you can shoot him from afar. He's on the field in front of the house that burned down in the beginning. And if you remember, there's like a hut there, and then you can go to the right into the fields if you wanna.
Oh.
You see the boy roaming around. You start shooting. He comes sprinting at you, and first thing you do is obviously, oh, I'm just gonna fucking go in the house because he probably has a harder time getting in there. You go in the house, and he immediately de-aggroes and just goes back to the fields. So you can just do that, rinse and repeat until he's dead.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. But Rack seem to have found that also works with normal enemies. There's like a trigger or an area they're allowed to be in, and they just de-aggro and fuck off. It's yeah. It's a weird one, that game. It's a weird one. Looking forward to talk about it.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Because apparently we have like all the perspectives there, like nah and yay and I just explained it with noises because I found that would be funny.
No, you know, you can explain it with noises.
I did. You can't reverse it now.
No, that's right. It's time is constantly moving forward or something along those lines.
Yeah. Matthew, you need to play an okay game like Witcher 3. I think the only reason I haven't played Witcher 3 is because it's gonna be so long. Because if I play these kinds of games, I want to do fucking everything.
Yeah. You'll probably be done for a while. You'll be doing that for a while.
Played the PT demo? I have not, no. Wow, long game bad. That comment always appears when I say that.
I haven't played the PT demo.
I saw it though. Looked spoopy.
I don't think I even saw it.
People dismantled that demo like crazy and found things.
Right.
Like apparently the weird ghost lady you see there apparently is always behind you in the game. Like the model is always behind you. Which I don't know. I mean, it's probably not gonna do anything like at all. It's just behind you, I guess.
I wonder if they're ever gonna do something like with Silent Hill anymore, if like they just don't care about doing this anymore. Video games. Then again, we're seeing that with other companies, right? The recent thing was that Ubisoft said we're doing like free to play now. That's gonna be our thing, as opposed to releasing 3 or 4 big games each year. People are mad, but you know what? It's probably going to make them a lot of money. They probably did a lot of research into this and have ascertained that it's the way to make money. I'm tempted to make a video talking about this. The microtransaction battle, the battle to stop that, it's over, and we lost. It's here to stay. It's never going away. Microtransactions are such an effective business model that it would actually be, as a company that has shareholders who you need to make returns for, you almost need to, like, do microtransactions and stuff. Like, it's just so smart as a business thing. It's, like, minimal effort for potentially unlimited gain. The opportunity cost of not doing microtransactions is substantial. Or the opportunity cost, rather, of, like, making new games rather than doing that is significant, yeah. Apparently, I think it was something like only, I think for EA, only about 26% of its revenue came from, like, game sales, and the rest of it was from microtransactions and live service. This is what I want to talk about in the video. You have, like, channels that go around and say, man, look, God of War sold, like, 5 million copies. See, EA, you were wrong. Like, as if that means anything to a company that makes billions of dollars a year. EA is absolutely correct when it comes to, like, the way to make money. The shit that they do with FIFA, where they have, like, you know, like, the microtransactions and stuff where you can get players, that is an incredibly effective business model if you want to make money. I think it sucks. Like, I think it really sucks. I hate it. But goddamn, like, when you say, hey, look, some Sony, like, for, you know, cinematic, you play it once and you're done often game, it's like, this is really successful and gonna make you money. It's like, this is just like, I don't know what I would describe it as, like, if it's economically illiterate, like, if it's just completely illiterate when it comes to the way that, like, the economy works, but there's a good chance that, like, FIFA alone makes more money than, like, all of the games that Sony sells combined. It wouldn't surprise me if like, FIFA makes them, like, $1 billion each year on its own. And remember, 26% on game sales alone. Yeah, apparently FIFA made $1.2 billion from DLC. Yeah. God of War didn't make $1.2 billion. Now, again, this isn't a conversation on the actual quality of those games, because I'm, like, confident that God of War is better than, like, FIFA. There's no doubt. The problem is that people go around and say, like, see, this one Sony game sold fairly well. See? And as if, like, that's a point. It's not a point, because these games just make more money. From microtransactions, DLC. I'm pretty sure Fortnite makes like $1 billion like $1 billion a month or a quarter. Call of Duty Warzone makes a lot of money. There's a reason why we're not gonna get a Crash 5. Crash 4, they made it. That probably took like 2 or 3 years with 100 people. A lot of base investment in that game to get it to be a game that exists, to sell it. And it was a really good game, and I'm pretty sure it sold like 1 million copies. And Activision looked at that and thought, we can make more money if we gut this team and just make them do Warzone support. And unfortunately, they're probably right when it comes to making money. It's really shit. It's really lame. But unfortunately, that battle is long lost in terms of the idea of pushing back against microtransactions. And maybe it wasn't one that could have even been won. Maybe it wasn't like a, maybe it wasn't something that we were ever gonna, you know, push back on. But yeah, it's over. Like, in terms of the whole idea of, I wouldn't be surprised if more and more, like, AAA developers, you know, big publishers like Ubisoft and stuff, push for more free-to-play It's what Activision's doing, it's what EA's doing, and Ubisoft now sees that it's something that they need to do as well if they want to remain competitive, and it's gonna work out for them. It's absolutely gonna work out for them. For as much as people will say, like, that was stupid, Ubisoft, me, armchair, like, running this company as if I know better than people who've, like, probably crunched the numbers on this. Will the positive reception ever be better than revenue generation? Well, no, I mean, of course not. Like, see, the clear example of this, I think, is that you can look at Sony now. I think they're now moving a lot of their games to PC. That's just financially sound. But their logic was probably always like, oh, well, we need it to sell systems. But the problem is that the games are getting so expensive that I'm not even sure that you can justify releasing them on one console. God of War probably was successful and profitable, but it could have been more successful and profitable if it was released on PC as well, obviously. Just try harder, Fringold. Oh, no, it's over. Like, the business model has been proven to be incredibly successful. That's the problem. The business model is exceedingly successful. And if you're a company like Ubisoft, there's only so long that you can look at that before you have to make a decision on what you want to do. Microtransactions are here to stay. That's basically the thing. There comes a point, though, where the consumer base can't be blamed. The problem is that it never would have taken off if people hadn't bought into it. But the problem is that, the unfortunate problem is that microtransactions are just an incredibly useful, like, business tool. I'm not sure that a business model that requires sustained resistance to it is one that can ever really fail. Microtransactions required, like, sustained resistance from people just consistently not buying into it when there is a huge incentive to buy into it, because it appeals to a lot of our base monkey brain shit, like loot crates and stuff like that. That's monkey brain stuff. Hey, the colors and big sounds. Like, that's what microtransactions tap into. And it takes a lot to push back against it. And like, hey, look at me, I got this skin, that makes me special, right? Duh! Like, that's the kind of stuff that you also need to resist if you want to not buy into microtransactions. And you know what? In some way, it's kind of hard to do that. Because microtransactions and, like, loot boxes and all of these things are designed to tap into that stupid monkey brain that we have that likes dopamine rushes and flashy colors and lights and big sounds and, like, dunk sounds, like dunk sounds that for whatever reason are just really appeal to us. There's a reason why Call of Duty became successful, and I think part of it has to do with the fact that the hitboxes, like, when you hit things and it's always going like dunk 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 dunk, like that, just for whatever reason gives you more dopamine than in a game where that isn't what happens, where you just shoot and you don't have hitboxes come up. It's dopamine. That's all it is. Call of Duty got it down to a T, and this is the next evolution of that. Would you also blame the instant gratification generation? Well, yeah, so what I'm saying is that the reason why it's such an effective thing is because microtransactions just give you a dopamine rush. Loot crates, seeing the colors pop up that are the ones that you want, gives you a huge dopamine rush. But the problem with dopamine rushes is that these are unsustainable and not particularly valuable. Not in the world that we live in right now. In fact, I think chasing dopamine is kind of unproductive. Because it leads you to spend a lot of money on stupid microtransactions for like a 3-second rush, and then immediately it's gone and you need to do the next thing. But that's what I'm saying, is I don't know that a business model that requires you to really push back against your base instinctual urges, I don't know that that was a business model that could have ever failed, that it was only a matter of time. Maybe that was the problem. Maybe all we could have done was push them to not have it be game-affecting microtransactions. And to that end, I guess we've succeeded, but I'm still not super happy with the economy as it is right now. Why cosmetic? I'm curious why cosmetic microtransactions are a problem. I get if they make a mechanical difference, but if they don't, I don't see the problem. So, me personally, I prefer it when I can unlock stuff in a game for free. I don't like the idea that I have to play for like 50 billion hours to unlock a skin. I think the pricing for skins is ridiculous. Like, where there are skins that can cost $7. So we're talking about skins that cost apparently the worth of like 1/10 of the game. It's like you said, they used to be free. And now they're not. Now it's not really free in any game. Halo's got free ones, but it would be really bad if they were putting microtransactions in what is essentially a re-release of, you know, old games. If a ton of countries make them illegal, it's not the best business model. Has any country banned loot boxes at all? I know that there are like
Sweden do that or someone.
I think the Netherlands talked about it, but have they actually done it? Am I to believe that FIFA is an illegal product in Belgium? So Belgium banned loot boxes, but they didn't ban microtransactions. You can just do a different system. Like, the idea of micropayments is not something that's ever going to get banned. I understand that it's hard on companies to stay profitable when the price of video games hasn't gone up from 60 in decades. That's true. With inflation, it probably is going to go up to 70 now. I guess that's the problem, though, is that the compromise is not... Okay, we're going up to 70, but no microtransactions. The compromise is, oh, it's 70, and there are still microtransactions. Isn't loot boxes gambling? Loot boxes is absolutely gambling. It definitely is. You're paying money for... And, of course, there are excuses where you get something. You always get something. But the reality is that people are trying to get, like, the gold shit. The legend, or whatever the color is for, like, the super duper rare stuff. It's gold, isn't it? And here in Australia, we have to pay $100. Yeah, I had to pay $100 for Village. And kids can do it, which is scummy. Yeah, so I guess that's the thing, right? Is like, I'm not sure that I'm opposed to the idea of regulating microtransactions, because it is gambling. It doesn't matter that you're always getting something, because you are doing it with randomized chances of getting specifically the thing that you want. Which is something, you know, that you're not going into it to be content with getting whatever it gives you. You want to get something, and there's a chance that you won't. I don't see how that's not gambling. And of course, with kids, there's a reason why we don't let kids gamble, because it's just you don't want to let people do this and be susceptible to this. Yeah, I guess that's an important distinction. What I'm talking about broadly is that microtransactions are a really sound business model as a company. Like, if you're a company like EA, it would be legitimately surprising if you didn't do microtransactions, because it's just such a good way to make money. I think they're really bad, though. And of course, there is a distinction between just microtransactions and loot boxes. And the reality is, they made a lot of money on loot boxes, and you know what? I would be very surprised if loot boxes were banned in, like, the United States. I don't see that happening at all. So, like, yeah, you might not be able to do this in Belgium or, you know, the Netherlands or anything like that. But in most countries in the world, you're probably going to be fine for now. And you still get the money. Like, they're not going to retroactively take the money that you earned for something that wasn't illegal yet. So there's that element, too.
Yes.
So yeah, that's my thoughts, is I'm thinking I might want to make a video on it. I'm not sure what the point would be. I guess it would be a really pessimistic, we lost, it's too late, we had a chance in 2013, and we didn't take it. Because I remember it was when Total Biscuit, which is kind of what got me into wanting to talk about it around that time too. Total Biscuit was talking about this stuff 2013, 2014, when like FIFA, when I think it was like Forza 5, like Rise, Son of Rome, Dead Space 3. This was like the beginning of the microtransaction era. How do you distinguish between DLC and microtransactions? Oh, I mean, I guess the distinction is becoming harder to tell now, but generally the idea of a microtransaction is it's a small payment in favor of like, yeah, I guess DLC is just microtransactions in a certain sense, because it's all, yeah, I think DLC is like a redundant word at this point, because DLC just meant downloadable content, and microtransactions are effectively just downloadable content. I guess the big distinction with microtransactions is you're unlocking content that is within the game itself, whereas like DLC is extra. But yeah, I don't think it's a meaningful distinction anymore. Microtransactions and DLC are one and the same. With I think there can be reasonable distinctions, right? So like a big downloadable expansion pack, I think that would be more apt to call that DLC, whereas a microtransaction is like smaller stuff. So, for instance, it would be weird to call, like, a Sims expansion pack a microtransaction.
Well, I am going to leave you now, because it's getting late.
Worries.
And I want to lie down.
That's totally fair.
I shall catch you tomorrow at some point, whenever you're awake.
Yeah, I suppose for what's the game called again?
Gartic Phone.
Yes, I would definitely want to be there for that. Alright, catch you later, dude.
Absolutely. Yeah. See you guys. Bye.
Blah.
I just wanted to close my stream that I'm not doing right now. I need an intervention. Anyway, bye.
Bye-bye. Alright, now it's just minutes down to 1. Hopefully, if I would actually write a script for this I would be able to formulate my thoughts more clearly. As, you know, there's... Huh, I'm pretty sure I should have died there. Oh, you're right. Yeah, I need to actually get... Oh, yeah, I probably need to... I need to wake up in time for that one. Oh, boy, my sleep schedule is getting fucked up. Clip that entire segment. I mean, I remember my points. I'll be able to figure it out, but, I might make this, like, its own segment. I've been trying to figure out what I would want for, like, segments that I could make out of stream content. I've been trying to figure out what it would be. That might be a segment. But right now my main focus is I gotta work on the endgame video, gotta work on the book, gotta work on the comic. Those are the priorities at the moment. Fringy, what are you gonna draw? What in general? Book's been hard. Feels like every time you get... Yeah, see, there's the question. So the problem with the book is every time I start working on it for a little bit... I don't know what the problem is with me, but I feel like often my premise is just broken, like to the core, in a way that's really hard to fix. I've been invited to peer review a paper. Oh, that's awesome, dude. That's really great. Like, I'm pretty happy. That's cool. In terms of the... Yeah, when it comes to the book, like, the problem is that often I come up with a premise that I feel is, like, broken to the core once I start to think about it. Like, it's an idea that I think is really cool, but then it becomes incredibly difficult to figure out how to fix the problems that are intrinsic to that idea. And, I always feel like, you know, you can fix an idea, there's a way to make it work, and perhaps I am just overthinking it, but, like, god damn is it hard to work on something for a long time when you feel like the passion is, when you almost get worried that the passion is lost, because you always start with it, but then, like, that's not going to get you to the end of the project. You kind of, passion won't carry you to the end of the project. At some point, it just needs to be, like, determination. You just need to be willing to push through the shitty part, the slog, the doubt, the lack of confidence in your idea. So, I don't really want to say what any of the ideas are, because it may well be that this is just how I'm feeling right now, and given time, I might come around to these ideas. And so I wouldn't want to spoil what the ideas are if I ever got them done. But I think the big problem for me right now, in general, is that the scope of a lot of these projects just gets really big when it needs to be smaller. That's the problem, I think. The scope just needs to be smaller for a first book. I am not... But every time you think you start with a small premise, you start ballooning it until it becomes an insanely complicated web. And I think, I think it's just... It needs to be something small. Like, you need to be able to prove to yourself that you can do something that's reasonably small before you start adding multipliers. Because we talk about this sometimes on EFAP. Science fiction and fantasy are kind of multipliers. There's more that you need to consider. And then the more rules that you add on, the more it multiplies. And so I think that what I need to do is I need to work on something that's really small and low scale. Something where it's just really focused on a small number of characters in like 1 or 2 locations. You know, it's basically like Quentin Tarantino. Reservoir Dogs is a good example of like a good first movie where you have a really small scope, not a lot of characters, not a lot of places that need to be gone to, and you just really focus on character. I think that's what I need to do. The problem for me is that I really like speculative fiction, so I'm always very tempted to do something that is, that becomes, that is in a setting where there will be multipliers, but the multipliers just sort of get out of control, I've noticed lately. Kind of like Knives Out. Well, the problem with Knives Out is Knives Out isn't what a lot of like, you know, Murder on the Orient Express is like a bottle episode, but it's a story. It's set on one train. There's a fixed set of characters, and that's, you know, that's the thing for the whole story. Knives Out doesn't do that, which is why, well, it's not the reason why. Knives Out sucks all on its own, but Knives Out is not, like, small scale in terms of what it's doing with its characters and plot. Think the whole iceberg, write only the tip. Yeah, that's Ernest Hemingway's writing philosophy, which is that you are only writing the tip, and like all of the depth and all of that is going to come through in your writing if you've done it well. And of course, another aspect as well is that you don't need to tell people everything. As long as you understand everything or understand a lot, you can write a story and it will come through in the way that you've written it. The problem I've noticed is that sometimes I haven't even figured out the answers to questions. I'll be like, well, this is up for interpretation. But then I think to myself, I'm like, well, there probably needs to be an answer in your head. Like, you need to have it be up for interpretation. But like, you need to have answers. Even if they're not answers that you give to other people. I think that's the feeling I've kind of been having. Am I banned or something? Oh, wait, what did you just say before? Sorry, I've been in the middle of the game and there's stuff scrolling through all the time. Write a story about 2 people who have to smuggle something from one place to another. That sounds like The Last of Us. Yeah, you think about stories like that. Ideas about, can it just be a story where there's a couple of people in a place who need to do something, or somebody in a circumstance that's really difficult, and then it thrusts them on the story. The problem is I want to do the bigger stories later on, but the problem is that I feel like in order to do a first story, it needs to be something small scale. I can't be doing some massive, huge, sprawling story, or like a multi-book story. It's kind of the same with the comic, right? I have ideas for comics that are a lot bigger than that, but like, it's probably really important to at least show to yourself that you can do one single issue, and then another single issue, and then keep doing that and until you feel like you're good at something. Could you do something in between a crime thriller and a sci-fi setting? Yeah, I tried that, but then it had like 10 billion multipliers where it was insane. Like, that's the problem. I thought that that would be one, but then it just totally went off the rails. That was an idea that I maybe could have salvaged, but like, I was not really liking the characters. That was the one I was working on last year. That you were never gonna see. I don't see how you need an answer to explore a topic. That sounds like one of those writing rules that people say, but that you can break easily. What I'm saying is that when it comes to, like, my ability to understand what I'm writing, I probably need to know certain things. Like, it would be a better idea to come into it believing that I have all the answers so that you can, you know, so that you don't get lost. That's what I mean. I'm not saying it's a writing rule. This is more like guidance. You need to finish it. Yeah, that's the problem, is you just gotta finish. But I did. I finished the first draft of that book, and then I was like, this is fucking awful. I don't want to look at this again. And maybe that is just like the natural thing that happens whenever you finish something. First draft always sucks, but goddamn was that a hump to get past. Limit yourself. Yeah, that's the important part, I think. You mentioned fantasy. Can you describe your preferred power system? I don't know. Just pull a JK Rowling, write something really big and tismy, aim at kids, and then fix it later. Write a short story per month. I have been working on short stories. The problem is it's hard to get the motivation to do it because it feels too small, but that's certainly something I've been doing. I think what I would like to do is that whatever that book is that I do, write it in a very condensed window of time and just go hard and fast at it. Like, sit down, come up with an idea, and work on it so fast that you can't lose interest in it, you know? I think that's the big thing. You can do pulps. I kind of like that idea. I kind of do. I'd like to... I like the idea of doing something that I can release online, like narrated. I heard of a novel in a month challenge. Try that. Yeah, like that's kind of I like the idea of coming up with an idea and trying to finish it in a month. Not finished to where it's, you know, like final draft ready to release, but the idea of just coming up with an idea for a story and working on it so hard and so fast that, like, you haven't lost interest yet. That's an idea anyway. And also it would light a fire up my ass, you know, to get things finished. A novel in a month, fuck that, novella at most. Well, no, you could write a novel in a month. If you write like 2,000 words a day, in 30 days, what's that, 60,000 words? So if you bumped it up to 3,000 words a day, which is, that's a lot. That is a lot to write in a day. But that would be a finished novel. But that might be insane as a goal, you know, because how do you do 3,000 words a day? That's a lot. It'd probably need a lot of editing. Everybody writes at different speeds. Yeah, the main thing is consistency. That seems to be the general thing. You just need to be doing it every day. I'm not succeeding at that at the moment. But, yeah. I'll get onto it, though. Endgame is kind of what I need to focus on at the minute. I need to get back to work on that. But, anyway, I'm probably going to wrap up here, so ask your last questions. I'm imagining they might be writing related, and I will do my best to answer them. It must be great for people not to think about your writing and be called a genius instead of working hard. If fantasy sci-fi makes things more complex, what about medieval? Maybe. Just an update from last stream. Purchased a full box set of Buffy and Angel together on eBay, so I watched the original aspect ratio. Ah, awesome. That's the way to do it. Any tips for writing horror? I got nothing. Thank you for being lovely background noise. Oh, thanks. That's lovely background noise. That's something. Do you get salty and garlic phone for being drawn a lot? Not really. I think it's funny. So I started working on my story and realized my side character is way more interesting than my main character and scrapped it and switched character priority. Has that ever happened to you? I don't think so. Generally the main character is like, I don't know, that's usually one that coalesces very quickly. Probably easy to start with the rules that you know, those being the one we have in the modern day. Yeah, you know what, legitimately that might just be my mistake, that I keep trying to do speculative when I could just start with like something that's set in the world that we live in right now. Or in the or in the recent past, like the 1990s or 80s. Your Crash video inspired me to try to make a video game retrospective of my own. The script is 27k words long. It took me 3 weeks to write. I don't think I could manage the 3k a day thing. That is a big script. But good work, man. How many naked freaks do you have in the next session of Garlic Phone? We'll have to see. What up, Fringleton? How you doing? I'm doing alright. What's your opinion on those books like 100 writing prompts? I've never heard of that one, but I found that like a lot of writing advice hasn't proven particularly helpful to me, ever. Because a lot of the issues that I have just have to do with trying to reconcile issues with the plot that are often not addressed. Or at least it doesn't feel that way. They're like, you know, you need to hit these beats to make a story exciting. It's like, yeah, no, I know. This is like the basic stuff, though, and these aren't even rules. But like, what's the book that helps me figure out an issue with a plot hole? I don't know if there are many books like that. Maybe there isn't a book that exists like that, you know? I don't know. Do a story where it's in reality, but one change. Yeah. I try to start writing, but everything I write sucks and gets strapped, and I lose motivation. Well, I think that's the hard part to push through, right? You just, I mean, I'm saying it, but it's like, maybe that's the book you should write once you figure it out. Oh, man, that'd be like many, many years from now before I'd feel comfortable writing a book on writing. Oh, books like they give you prompts like a day at the beach and they give you a page or two to fill in. That's a good idea, actually. I like that a lot. How long is a page typically in your script when you talk about a video? Well, I mean, it's just like, let me pull up my endgame scripts. So like the endgame script right now is 62 words, but 62 pages and 20,000 words, but half of that is my notes, and the script isn't done. So the script right now is like 33 pages long, but it's not done yet. So this is much longer than the Crash video, or maybe not much longer. I think the Crash script was, so to give you an idea, the Crash script was, I think, about 24 pages, and that was what, 45 minutes of content. So I guess you could say that a page is like roughly 2 to 3 minutes of speaking time. Of course, depends on your pace. So this one's probably going to be well over an hour. You really spaced that out? Well, maybe it is just spacing. I do like 12 point because that's easy to read. It takes an hour to write, so it takes an hour to read, right? I recognize that joke. 12 points is large? That's always been standard for me, like, always, forever, projects and assignments and stuff like that. You excited for Rick and Morty next month? I am quite excited. I'm looking forward to that. I hope it's good. Yeah, 12 point is standard. Yeah. At least, I always thought it was. Did you use Comic Sans? Arial all the way. You read Shad's book? I haven't, but I have the audio book, so I'll get around to it eventually. Yeah, some people would be 11 point. I know that's the default on Word, but I always like having it in 12. I don't know. Force of habit at this point. You know what? I reckon I'm going to call it there. Thank you very much for stopping by, guys. It's been fun. I'll get back to work now. Thanks for hanging out. I guess I'll see a bunch of you guys on the weekends with the EFAPs and all the shenanigans. Thanks again, fellas. Catch you later.